I was a dry hump maniac.
Sunday papers, read all about it.
Extra,
Oh,
extra,
shit.
read all about it. Hot news coming in fast.
Worst sounding one ever. That was technically the worst sounding one ever.
Pete Davidson, Kim Kardashian, will we talk about it? Who knows? You got to buy the paper to read it.
We don't know. Chris supposedly is adding the story right now as we're talking.
Yeah, he suggested it. I don't know if we're going to do it. Because, look, I always feel bad. I don't want to go after a fellow comedian. And, but what am I going to shit on Pete Davidson? I don't know the guy. Never met him.
I kind of like him. I used to find him a little bit annoying because it was a little like the, hey, I want to involve everybody in my self-destruction. A little bit of that.
Yeah, a little bit of that. But
I think he's matured. And, he did a stand-up. I liked a lot of the special I saw. He had that great point about, what's-her-face, who wrote the song about him, right? And then, she said some quote like, you know what? He a terrible guy to date, but good. But he had a nice dick, and that got kind of famous. But he did a great thing, which was, okay, imagine if I said the similar comment about her. Imagine if I was like, horrible person to date, but she had a good pussy.
Yeah,
forget it.
Right.
Time to move to another country.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You can't talk about a woman's vagina. It's not done. It's not done. And I'm a guy who, look.
Total double standard.
I'm progressive. I'm nice. I'm decent. I'm a
Prague.
father.
You're Prague. Everyone says it.
But I'm also there's a part of me that's like a dirty guy. And I have never talked about a woman's vagina to another man. And that's why I'm going to start today. No. It's weird. It's a very personal thing to talk about, but women do talk about guys' dicks, don't they?
I don't think nearly as much as we think.
You know that I slept with several comedians in New York who went out and started telling other comics that I had a big dick. 3 different ones all said the same thing.
I doubt they did it more than you talked about your own big dick.
It's important that these messages stay current. And so I went on Tough Crowd with Colin Quinn. And I was backstage, and Colin came up to me, and he goes, so Fitzsimmons, I'm hearing you got a big dick. Let's see it. So I'm standing there with Greg Giraldo and a bunch of other people, and I unzipped it, and I whipped it out. And it's big when you say whip. I whipped it out.
Yeah, you know how to tell a story. You know how to create an image. I get it.
And a woman was standing there, and she saw it. Yep. An African-American woman, and she said, whoa, yeah. And that was it, and I was a made man. And we went on Tough Crowd that night, and Colin talked about it on the show on national TV.
Wow.
And I will
Basic cable.
always be indebted.
Basic cable. Let's just keep it in perspective.
Okay. Well, so 25 people saw it.
You don't think it's also with you that there's a surprise element that also makes it a juicier story?
Without a doubt.
Because as you describe, you have a how do you describe your situation naked?
I look like a 13-year-old girl with a huge penis.
That's it. I'm so glad I didn't attempt that. That's exactly what it is. So I think there's that going on also.
Yeah, it's a sleeper for sure, and it's a nice thing. I think women appreciate it, but one of the women was complaining about it because she had a hard time having sex with me because of the size.
Wow.
But I was also trying to do anal with her. No.
Right.
No.
And she was underage. All right. This is such a strong start to our podcast. What the hell is going on?
Look, let's talk about the elephant in the living room. We went to the Grateful Dead show. We talked about it last week.
Well, also, it's Tuesday.
Yes, we're doing this.
That's the real elephant in the room. So if we feel off our game, it's because we are.
We're both going away this week and very busy. Mike's taking multiple flights, and I'm going to be in San Francisco with my wife doing shows and seeing people, and so we're recording this early. And but we went to the Grateful Dead on Sunday night with with 7 of us drove in a car, and then we met up with your sister and a bunch of other people. So we had a gang of people.
Oh, my God. So much fun.
So much fun. I mean,
Great show.
It's a kind of a thing that changes your mood for. I mean, it's been a couple days and I'm still high from it. I'm still like buzzing from it.
Yeah.
And it's
It
not
was the
just
last stop on their tour. It was Halloween night in the Hollywood Bowl.
outdoors.
The Dead Show is usually like an amazing people watching experience, no matter what. And then you layer Halloween on top of it.
And
so
then-
all right. So we took a lot of drugs and stuff. So anyway, I'm walking around, and you did not. You sat in your chair. It was like Aaron wheeled you in and was taking care of a 90-year-old man, and you didn't even get up and go over and say hi to my sister, who was 4 rows away.
That was because I was saving. Well, first of all, you should mention I was dancing the entire 4-hour show, but they take a half-hour intermission, at which point I sat, but we were going to lose they weren't our seats. They were good seats, and I didn't want to lose them, so I didn't want to get up, and I should have. And then you told your sister that I was having a bad trip, which I was not. I was having an amazing time.
I panicked. I couldn't think of what to explain why my friendly friend Greg wasn't coming over to say hi.
It was
And
weird.
So
It
we
was
all
weird.
looked at like, oh, look how sweet Erin is. She's staying with him.
And then she blew me a kiss like I was a fucking, like one of Jerry's kids or something.
Well, okay. Also, here's the image. You're sitting there in your chair, right? And you're just sitting there very, very listless. You are wearing overalls,
Pinstriped overalls.
a blue, jean, like denim striped overalls, a blue wig, and the weirdest hat ever.
Well, it was a matching pinstriped hat. It went with the overalls. It was a train engineer outfit.
Okay, so you eventually at some point in that explained to me that for Halloween you've gone as Casey Jones.
Driving that train,
The whole
high on
night,
cocaine.
I thought you were Raggedy Ann. That's not even
No,
a joke.
Raggedy Andy, asshole. She had red hair. He had blue
No.
hair.
Oh, I don't even know that. I just thought you were a female doll. Whatever name you want. I know there's labels these days and everything. I thought you were a female doll.
And you dressed, as I said last night, as yourself in 8th grade, which means exactly the way you dress now as
It's
a
my
54-year-old
costume
man.
every day since 8th grade. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I'm walking around though, and you see some as you'd imagine, some. So like, did you see the 2 mushrooms walking around?
No.
And really nice, like it looked like proper costume. So the mushroom heads were like the big red ones with the white circles all over it, like
Yeah.
something out of like Alice in Wonderland like type mushroom artwork, and everyone pointing at him with wide eyes because the whole place is on mushrooms. Like, oh my God. But dude, I went down to the bathroom. Bathroom was hysterical. So I would text you guys from wherever I was. I'm like, it's all about the men's room. Like, because in the men's room, like everyone was kind of silent. And it's like a typical stadium men's room. I don't know, 40 urinals, at least 40. And all of a sudden, one guy's like, they're bringing it tonight. Rah, 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 rah. Like all of a sudden, everyone just started singing whatever their favorites. And it was just a cacophony. It was hysterical. And then I'm walking back up the side of the Hollywood Bowl and coming down. That's a steep walkway on the sides
Yeah.
of the Hollywood Bowl. It's really steep. Coming down like pretty quickly is this guy, and he has a big like thing over his head. I'm like, what is this costume? What is it? And he has a big net. And then I'm like, oh my God, he is a like beekeeper, and running in circles around him is his girlfriend dressed as a bee.
I love it.
It was perfect. And he's chasing her.
Yeah. There was a guy who showed up. Did you see the guy? And he had like a green and yellow day-glow suit with a tie, and it had like frogs on it.
No.
Older guy. He had a gray beard, gray hair. I mean, there was a lot of old people. What was cool is there was a lot of young people too. It was a total mix.
Yeah.
And so they're grooving. They come in and they look cool. They look like they belong there. They were tripping. They were like dancing, like like with the hand wave dance, the dead dance.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I see paramedics show up, and she was fucking down. She went a little too far, and they got a stretcher, and it wasn't even like a flat stretcher. It was like a tarp They put her in, it looked like they put her in a body bag, and just like 6 guys each grabbed sheets and took her away. Best part, guy in the suit, it was like, sayonara, sweetie. See you at home.
Oh my God.
Stayed.
It's like a soft stretcher, I guess, in a way. So, they have intermission. Then they come back, they do some songs. And in the second set, in the middle, they have drums in space, which can be ominous. Like it was Halloween. So I think they put more of an ominous spin than usual. But like, that's when you start. So you're 3/4 of the way through. That's when you start to see the people who take the wrong turns with the drugs. If that's going to happen, that's when you see it. So when I'm walking around during drums in space, there were some people struggling. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
They had like walked out of the stadium and they're just crying alone.
Yeah. Yes.
That's all.
Yes.
They take a seat like on a like a grassy part, like or on a hill or near a hot dog stand, and they're just having their moment, a not a good moment.
Yeah.
So that was happening.
There was a guy standing next to me that I was having a great time with, because he was very knowledgeable about the dead. Like and he came alone. A lot of people go alone.
Oh yeah.
And so he was, and so at one point I had a joint. Somebody passed me a joint, and I passed it to him, and he goes, "No, man, I'm sober." And so I pat him on the back, and I go, "Good for you, good for you."
You're like,
and
so am I.
Yeah, so am I technically. And so we're going on, and like each song, he'd be like, "Oh my God, Sugar Magnolia! They haven't played this since like 2008 in Arizona." And so then like this guy comes up to him, who some of these deadheads have a hard edge to them.
Yeah.
Like they're sort of like gruff, and they look like maybe they've been touring with the Dead too long. And this guy runs up to him, and they're old friends. And cut to like a half hour later, Erin's tapping me on the shoulder. She's pointing at the guy, and he's got a fat joint, and he is sucking on that joint. He took like 6 hits, and I was like, all right, I guess that's all it took.
All right, which brings us to, so Pete and Duds are really good friends. I went to high school with them, and then they were Greg's roommate in college, and that's how I met you. So Peter and Dudley are up from Atlanta, and Pete was supposed to go with his brother the night before, so a Saturday night, and so his brother bails, so Peter and Dudley both go to the show. So same thing, joints being passed back and forth. Pete's like, every time a joint came by me, I took a drag, and every time I thought, well, that's the last joint that's going by, and it just kept happening. Cut to, he texts Dudley, dude, I'll be in the car, and it was halfway through the show. So Dud's like, what? So Dud just stays the whole rest of the show. Gets back to the car, which is all the way down Highland or whatever, and down towards Hollywood Boulevard. And there's Pete, completely passed out in the car, just snoring away.
Keep in mind, he flew to L.A. for the concert. Yeah.
So cut to Sunday night. We're all there together, and I'm standing next to Dudley, and all of a sudden the joint starts going down the line, and Duds, in a very paternal, protective way, leans forward and goes, no, don't hand it to Pete, don't hand it to Pete. I'm like, wow, good looking out, Duds, that's pretty cool. He's like, yeah, I got to protect Pete. And I just sat there for a second, I'm like, good job, protector.
It was great. And we, I was surprised I had the energy, because we went to see the Chargers during the day. And
yeah, all of us, Peter and Dudley, you and me, and yeah, it was a long day.
It was a long ass day, and then
what a game we missed.
Yeah, we left early because they were so paranoid that we were going to get to the Dead late that we left in the third quarter of what turned into be an amazing game.
I think that's why we put so many substances in our body, because all of a sudden we felt like our dads. Like, I don't know about you, my dad would take me to these incredible Yankee games, and like beginning of the 8th inning, all right, let's beat traffic.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a fucking playoffs. What?
Right. Yeah. But I'm glad we got there early. We got time to chill. The people watching was supreme.
Yeah.
And then what else?
I just put this little thing in here to remind me. But last night we were all at dinner before Peter and Dudley left, and we were talking about the World Series, the 87. It came because there's that new
86.
86. There's that new special, and I got to find it here. Anyway, there's a new special, and it's called 4 Days in October. So people should try this. See what happens to you. I, on my iPhone in Safari, typed 4 days with the number 4, though. I didn't write out FOUR. So 4 days, and 4 suggestions came up. One was 4 days. I gotta do it now. I'll do it right now. See if it happens live again. I should have been prepared. Sorry. So here we go. 4 days.
By the way, this was the Red Sox Mets World Series in '86.
Happened again. It's right here. You can see it. The first one, it just repeats 4 days, which is what I typed. The next one is 4 days late period. The third one is 4 days movie. I wouldn't even be talking now if it weren't for the fourth one, and there's only 4. 4 days of diarrhea. So this is what I need to know. Is this me? Is this Google who's figured? Because I don't get diarrhea.
Yeah.
I've never Googled diarrhea. I've never Googled what to do. I have an iron stomach.
I can't even spell it. Yeah. No one can spell it.
Oh, of course. But if you put in your phone right now 4 days, tell me what pops up.
Okay.
All right, yeah. Numeral 4 days. That's all you need to type. Don't even put a space after days. What are the suggestions below it? Probably 4 days showing my penis to Colin Quinn.
4 days. It shows me. Shows me the movie first.
You put number 4, not FOUR.
I put the number 4. 4 days for 4. No, it's you. Mine just says 4 days Netflix, 4 days 2021.
All
Yeah.
right. I want to
It's
hear what
you.
the viewers do. Why on earth? Why on earth? All right, anyway.
By the way, we had an awkward thing today because I asked you because I figured we'd
Chris,
drive together.
Chris is saying his says the same thing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You're the weird one.
I asked Mike if he would. I figured we'd car share tonight, and I said, "You want to go to Eric's birthday party together, Eric Lederman?" And then I realized you weren't invited.
Well, because I told you, I had no idea what you were talking about.
Because you weren't invited.
Yeah, I know, but you didn't know. You didn't realize that till I
didn't
told
realize
you.
that. I just assumed because we're both good friends with him.
No, you've kept more in touch and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. He was very into me when I was married to a Jew, and maybe because that's no longer going on, he doesn't think I'm tribe friendly or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I guess I still got my Jewish wife. I've still got my papers.
What is he doing out here?
I have no idea. I just got an invite that he's having a birthday party, and of course it's downtown, which is the most annoying fucking thing. And it's such an indication that somebody's from New York that's where they would have their party, because nobody in LA that I know goes downtown. You go to Hollywood, you go to the West Side.
All the hipsters go down there. It's a foodie cat. It's the foodie center
it's
of
hipster.
LA now.
It's very hipster. So, and I'm having dinner first with a kid who I went to high school with. This kid, Tom, and he was kind of a goofy guy. Not that not seemingly like a bright guy. Not dumb, but like he didn't jump out at you as like an intelligent person. And super sweet dude. And he went to Wall Street and he started a hedge fund, and his hedge fund is worth $4-something billion. He's a billionaire.
Idiot.
My friend's a billionaire.
What an idiot.
And he's taking me to dinner tonight at Craig's, which is at. Do you know Craig's?
That is douchebag central.
Is it?
Oh yeah, but it's a big pickup scene. You'll see a lot of like fancy dressed women going in there alone. It's like it's like.
Well, it's a lot of celebrities, right?
Yeah, but it's more like let's see if there's any women out there looking to meet me. It's like a pickup joint in a phrase, but it's of the douchey Hollywood type.
Well, there's no question
last
about
last time I was in there, I got tackled by Kato Kalin. I wish I were joking, because we worked together. I put him on Tosh as the that keyboard cat or whatever. I made Kato Kalin dressed as a cat.
That's great. Well, maybe
Keyboard
Andy Dick will
Kato.
tackle me.
It's very similar, exactly.
Yeah. And then All right, so let's get going. We got a lot to get to. The song, there's a war. There's a war going on. If you enjoyed today's song, it was from John Cabrera, who I believe this is his 10th song on the show.
He's a ringer.
So he has an album. An album is 10 albums, 10 songs. So he's got an album. And they're all extremely high quality, and they're groovy, and they're different. But then another guy comes along, Tony Kakase, who's given us songs. I don't know how many he's given us, but he's given us a bunch over the last year and a half. So he basically said he wanted to start a beef with John Cabrera. So he talked some shit about him last week. And then Cabrera came back and answered him, and there was a whole war going on social media between them. But then Rob Dukes, who's my buddy from Generation Kill.
Forget about it.
Yeah, and I mean, and this guy's a legendary a metal guy. And he wrote, Greg and Mike, if the gauntlet is thrown down, challenge accepted. Generation Kill is going to crush those fucks with a song. Beware. We are like Hagar the hero. We are going to come in and rape and pillage and leave no one alive. Rob Dukes.
Such a unmetal thing to say. You would think he'd be like, you know what? They're probably better.
All right, so we're waiting on something from Rob now. So, and by the way, don't feel intimidated by this, other songwriters, because we enjoy something that was made on your cell phone while you were high in the back of your friend's car with a harmonica.
I was going to make one. Look at this.
There you go.
You know I can't play guitar, but I wrote a song. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
All right. It's the name of the song is called Safest Driver in the World. You ready?
Yeah.
Old Asian woman in a Volvo. That's all I got. That was it. But listen, it's that first step is the hardest.
All right, so we want to thank him for the song. Also, the logo this week was very cool. That is who did the logo this week?
Oh my God, Chris literally just Googled and found Kato Kalin is apparently constantly outside of Craig's.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's a picture. He just put it in the document.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Gasper Hernandez did this week's logo, the Blondie, which was their album. I believe that was Parallel Lines, which Blondie had 2 albums.
Of course it was.
That were fucking stellar. 2 perfect albums where every fucking track was great.
Yeah.
And that was one of them.
Well, you know, it's funny. So there's Blondie replacing Blondie, and then we're 2 of the guys in those suits. And I looked at it, and it's small on my computer, and I'm like, oh my God, did he put in the Pulp Fiction guys? Did he put in Jackson and Tarantino? That would have been pretty funny because those are the exact suits.
Yeah. Corrections this week. JJ said the really famous balloon festival in New Mexico is in Albuquerque. I used to live there, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if there's a balloon festival in Taos, but if there is, it is nowhere in the stratosphere of the International Balloon Fiesta in Albuquerque. And yeah, my mom used to go to that. That would be the thing to take mushrooms and go see. Are you shitting me?
I don't know about that. All right. They don't move quickly.
Yeah, neither do shrooms.
Wouldn't you be rooting for an occurrence, which is not the thing to do when you're watching a balloon festival?
Well, here's the thing about you, and we're all like, everybody's getting in the mood for the dead, everybody's eating shrooms and smoking pot, and then we get there, and Type A Mike is like, okay, we got to go up the left side. They're texting with 3 people. We cut this line, we run around this line, we get in here, get the app so we can download we can get Street Meat on the app. It'll save us time. You're like a fucking lunatic.
I don't like waiting. Oh, but here's the difference. First of all, you're probably feeling chiller because you're dressed like Raggedy Ann. Secondly, you had already taken mushrooms. I didn't take mine yet. I wanted to get in. I wanted to get a drink. And the lines, give me credit, the lines were ridiculous.
The lines were ridiculous. Yeah, it was an hour wait to get in because they were checking for COVID. And
who wants that buzz hassle? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. It was a lot.
Oh, no way. So anyway, I found the shortest line. I got in, took my shrooms, got a drink. Everything was great.
Yeah.
And you were just a patient little Raggedy Ann.
Danny Keith said you confused intersex with transgender.
I thought
an intersex person literally physically has both male and female sex organs. I believe that's also called a hermaphrodite, right?
I'm guessing probably not anymore.
It's a little bit like when you're talking about the Netherlands and you go, but wait, it's also Holland and they speak Flemish.
Oh,
That's
God,
where we're
this
at.
sounds like it's triggering a lot of corrections for next week, if you ask me.
The mug is on sale. I think we sold out on the first shipment of them.
Wow.
But you can order them now. You will still get them before Christmas, way before Christmas. It'll take about 3 weeks. But go to the website, fitzdog.com or sundaypapers.net. Get yourself a Sunday Papers mug. Enjoy the show in style. Nice
Very
gift
cool.
for the holidays. And then also, if you look, I live in Venice. Crime is up. I want to feel safer. And the best way to do it is to work with our friends at Simply Safe. They're giving our listeners 40% off their award-winning home security. They have everything: indoor, outdoor cameras, comprehensive sensors, monitor around-the-clock, trained professionals, and they help you the instant. You know, I got to tell you something. I live in Venice. It's 45 minutes before the cops show up if you call them.
Wait. That's if they show up.
If they show up at all. So I've had an experience where we had to call them recently, and yeah, we just gave up. The cops didn't come. So I'm signing up as Simply Safe now because it's going to give my family and me. I mean, I got my family there. I want to feel safe. I want to feel protected. Simply Safe was named the best home security of 2021 by U.S. News and World Report. They have the biggest discounts of the year. You can get a complete home security system starting at just over $100. What are they going to steal from you? I think it's going to be more than $100.
It's crimes up everywhere, man. Are you kidding me? This is you even just for the sense of security.
No long-term contracts. So take advantage of Simply Safe's holiday sale and get 40% off your new home security system by visiting Simply Safe, which is SIMPLISAFE.com/papers. Again, that's simplysafe.com/papers for 40% off your entire system.
Nice.
Hurry, this offer ends soon. Also, not too early to start your Christmas shopping, people, and start with your loved one's earbuds. Get some earbuds from Raycon. They're great, right?
Yep, they're great.
They're wireless.
They stay in there.
Oh, do they
they're good
stay
sound. I have the bass mode on mine, which fills out that tinny sound that all these compressed music files have. It's great.
I had the other leading brand, which is the expensive one that costs literally twice as much as Raycon. There is no difference. And, I basically leave them in most of the day because I do phone calls on them. When I go to bed, I listen to my books on tape because they're comfortable enough in your ear that you can actually lay down with your head on the pillow and have them in. So do it. Go to buyraycon.com/papers today to unlock exclusive deals up to 20% off your Raycon order. But hurry, this offer is available for a limited time only, and you don't want to miss it. That's buyraycon.com/papers to unlock up to 20% off your Raycons. Buyraycon.com/papers.
They're already reasonable. Now you're getting 20% off.
It's crazy. They're giving them away.
All righty.
Let's get to our first section called No Shit.
This is the No Shit section. It's a very big Tuesday. Virginia, it's election day, and the polls are showing a dead heat between McAuliffe and Youngkin. In a related story, NBC News poll, 50% of Republicans doubt their vote will be counted accurately.
Wow.
So this can only go well.
Oh, my God. What a fucking crime. The fact that there has been a conspiracy theory launched on this country that our voting is not intact is going to destroy the fucking country. It's unforgivable what Trump did on his way out.
Listen, in fairness, I remember what that feels like when the Supreme Court decided the election for Bush and, Gore conceded. But I remember like those hanging chads, dangling chads, whatever the hell they were called. I mean, if you don't know what happened in Florida, if you're too young, you wouldn't believe it. They would hold up a ballot, and a Republican and a Democrat were watching the pollster like a hawk. And if it was punched for gore, I remember, but the part that they punched was still hanging on the other side, kind of like tests we used to take where you used to have to punch holes in your answers. If it was still hanging, but it was punched through and you could see through it, they called BS, and it became a meme, if you will, before there were memes of were they called hanging or dangling chads?
Hanging
chads.
I think so.
That's
I could be wrong.
What they were called. Like, you are not counting that. And everyone was like, are you insane? So I remember having that very, very bad feeling that votes for Democrats were not being counted. Now, Gore conceded, and a lot of people, have a problem with that, and the country moved forward, and here we are 20 years later, and I've kind of let go of that. I don't think I believe there's not widespread fraud. I believe countless court cases where they have decided that there's not widespread fraud and that they're actually rather impressively run.
There hasn't been a single verified study of voter fraud that has come back and said that there's any problems.
But my
Zero.
point is, it's not just the right who feel they've been burned by this, or the left famously felt burned by this.
The difference is the left said, for the good of the country, I am going to let this proceed, even though it's likely I won, because I don't want there to be conflict.
And then the Supreme Court voted, should we stop this recount? Yep, we're going to stop it.
Yeah. Anyway, let's not get partisan.
No, it's all right. Everyone's
right.
doing well, man.
Let's go to the front page.
Good luck, Virginia. Sweet Virginia.
Extra, read all about it. Extra.
All right, front page. Hiker lost for 24 hours. I should have written this a different way. Okay, so a hiker's lost. He's in the woods, and he's lost badly, and he can't find his way back, and he keeps trying to find the trailhead, and he is looking and looking, and while he's looking, his phone keeps ringing, and when it rings, he sees an unidentified number, and he's like, fuck that, and he doesn't answer. Over and over again, and it was the Rangers calling him because he had not checked in again, and they knew he was lost.
And he's like, this is all I need. I got no fucking food. I'm freezing, and now I got AT&T calling me to see if I want to upgrade my package.
Is this my ex? Did she get another number? It's not worth it. It's not worth it. I can't answer. The subject stated that they'd lost the trail around nightfall and spent the entire night searching for the trail. And once on the trail, bounced around onto different trails trying to locate the proper trailhead. Lake County Search and Rescue searched multiple areas for the hiker, but could not find the person. Multiple attempts to contact the subject via their cell phone were unsuccessful. That's what the official statement said.
Well, I'll tell you something. I have gotten more fucking spam calls in the last 3 months. I get 4 or 5 a day, and I downloaded a spam filter onto my phone, an app that I researched it. I downloaded the best.
Oh, wow.
The best filter, and then with an iPhone they've got a internal one, but it's not working.
Well, now you're getting all these calls from that filter company saying, "Do you want to upgrade? Do you want to upgrade?"
Right.
But if you're lost, because I know how terrifying that can be, and you can get lost. I mean, obviously, we hear about people, unfortunately, dying all the time because they've gone off the trail and they can't get out. So, and imagine the corpse is found and it's like 14 missed calls.
Yeah, right.
It's insane. All right, I found this story. I thought it was kind of interesting. A woman convinced her husband that he had Alzheimer's. And the police say she stole $600,000 from him over time.
Wow.
Donna Marino's husband just wanted to go into the bank, but his wife insisted it wasn't a good idea. Last time he had caused a scene, she reminded him. Embarrassed that his Alzheimer's disease would lead to more trouble, he agreed not to go in. For approximately 20 years, Connecticut police say Marino stole money from her husband, cashing in on his pension checks, workers' compensation payments, and Social Security income. To cover her tracks, she convinced the now 73-year-old man he had Alzheimer's. So the daughter of the man, because it wasn't her mom, this was the second wife, finally caught on to all this and looked at the finances and found documents. So that's how the gig finally was up.
Yeah, I think when you're the husband and you're sitting home and you're eating cat food and you're watching fucking basic cable, and then your wife goes, "I gotta run out for a little while," and there's a stretched limo out front, something's going on.
But then you're like, I guess I'm just gonna forget it, right?
Yeah.
But let that be a warning. If your wife, out of the blue, I'm talking to anybody out there, if your wife ever tells you, "No, silly, we already went to the bank," and you don't remember it, you didn't go to the bank. Keep an eye on that bitch.
Yeah.
Or maybe, you know what? Just all of a sudden, if you feel someone pulling this trick on you, just start doing whatever you want. Like if she comes home, you're in bed. Who's she? Oh my God! I forgot we were married.
Yeah.
I have Alzheimer's. Remember? Oh no! Don't tell me it's contagious. Oh.
Why are you wearing Prada and I've got on Spalding tennis sneakers? Why do I have on Ross Dress for Less tracksuits and you're fucking coming home with prime rib, home delivery?
This seems like an imbalanced Christmas. So wait, I got you that giant diamond necklace and you got me these tennis balls for my walker? First of all, I don't even need a walker, or am I forgetting that too?
Right. Why do they put tennis balls? I always think that that's kind of cruel. You could certainly come up with another way to make the legs slide besides reminding people of the shit they can't do any longer.
Right. But there's also like so many people do it. It's almost like all the Apple products or anything like that. It's like, why don't you just make a case for the Apple phone? You know everyone gets a case.
Yeah.
Just sell it with the goddamn case.
Right.
It's like the thing. Like you don't have a thing that looks better than two like ripped open tennis balls that everyone uses on these things.
Right. Why don't you put condoms on there too, since I can't fucking use those anymore either?
All right,
you want to read QAnon?
This is all you, man. What is it? Tom O'Neill sent
QAnon
us this
followers. I think O'Neill sent us this.
He sent us like a live feed of them broadcasting from Dallas.
Well, QAnon, and it really is amazing. These people's imagination. Part of me is jealous that they can believe such fun shit. They've gathered in Dallas where they believe John F. Kennedy Jr., who's still alive, will reappear and announce Donald Trump as president. A large crowd of QAnon, well, actually, by the time you hear this podcast, this story will have already happened. But as we're doing it, it's in progress. And by the time you hear this, they will be embarrassed because I'm guessing he's not coming back. But they believe that he is going to return before midnight tonight. The Daily Beast contributor Steve Manicoli shared several photos that show a dozens strong crowd. Here's the thing about news today. Does it really, if 36 people get together and do something this crazy, does it need to get coverage from every fucking news organization?
Well, I don't know, Greg. We're doing it in the podcast.
Good point.
You know, we put this podcast together very quickly all this morning. Because it was in Dallas and because they're lunatics, I thought JFK was coming back.
Oh, no, JFK Jr.
So that you see what I wrote here? I'll just read what my notes I wrote in. I literally wrote that I'm a little confused. Is dead JFK reappearing? Like he's going to have this big hole in the back of his head and it'll be like, I'm just back to tell you guys it was definitely more than one gunman. So this is another case of me writing jokes to a premise that doesn't exist.
Oh, that happened last week also. Right.
Yeah. Also, did my whore wife really marry that fat Greek guy? Tell me that didn't. That's the worst thing that ever happened to me, actually. And where's my boy? Where's my son?
Oh, God.
And then my last joke. At least tell me, are presidents still giving inspiring speeches with tons of literary references? Please tell me that tradition's still going. No?
Cut to Trump tomahawking while his wife rolls her eyes.
So I didn't know, right? I forgot. It's a giant conspiracy that JFK Jr. Well, wasn't it a conspiracy he was murdered? I thought that was the conspiracy.
Well, once
that
you get
they
a plane,
cut the stuff on his plane.
yeah, anything involving planes, there's always a conspiracy. But I mean, they believe. Here's what they believe: that
Okay.
there's an elite global cabal of satanic pedophiles engaged in mass child sex trafficking that somehow Trump will expose and order its members arrested and sentenced to death. So, good for them. I mean, what a great fucking story to walk through life believing.
Okay, so you believe that, right? And Trump's your guy who, this is a fact, has multiple cases regarding underage girls.
Mm.
And I'm not saying that they're true. I'm just saying there's multiple cases that are real, that that a court reporter can read to you, that you can look up because it's public information, that those exist and there's no interest in them.
Here's what else exists. A Washington state father killed his daughter's 19-year-old boyfriend for selling her into sex trafficking. Hey, I got a daughter who's 18. If you sell her into sex trafficking, I will kill you. I don't think there is another possibility for a father if this happens to your daughter.
Thank God. I thought your joke there was, and you're like, I want a piece.
The boyfriend's remains were discovered in the trunk of an abandoned car in Spokane. Spokane or Spokane?
You know what?
Spokane.
Keep it as both. Keep it as both.
The father was 60, he's charged with first-degree murder, held on $1 million. His daughter had been trafficked in Seattle, and he rescued her before he killed the guy and got her back to Spokane.
Spokane.
What a nice thing to rescue your daughter from sex trafficking. That'd be awesome.
And here's how it went. He rescued her. They're in the car. Also, her boyfriend's in there. He's like, all right, honey, you run inside. Mom has dinner ready. And you know what? I'll drive Steve home. Right, Steve? I know where you live.
Yeah, Steve, put on your seatbelt.
Yeah.
And you know what? Throw this belt on too. And this belt. And this belt.
Okay, so do you know about the case? This is off the top of my head, so I'll probably get it wrong. But there was a case where there was an arrested guy who was flown back in, and he was coming through the airport in cuffs. And I believe he sexually assaulted, molested, or killed a minor. The father of the victim is waiting for him in the airport. He's walking along. The father walks right up. There's footage of it. Walks right up, puts the pistol, shoots him right in the head, drops the pistol, and puts his hands on his head.
Wow.
And says, arrest me.
Yeah.
Not sentenced.
No shit.
Not sentenced. And I'm not even kidding you. And people should fact check me on this. Just look it up with the diarrhea, 4 days. And I believe the judge found a way and said, we're going to count the time you've already done, which was like the months that he was in arraignment or whatever, waiting for the trial. And so you've served your sentence.
Meanwhile, his sentence was getting high-fived by every fucking inmate that had been sexually assaulted as a child. He was a hero in jail, probably.
Yeah, I might be a little gray area on what had happened, but this was a father of a tragic, tragic case, and he blew that guy away. So I want to keep an eye on this, especially if, he tried to get away with it, though. There is something very different here, because it was a year later that they found this trunk. He was killed in November 2020.
Yeah.
So that's a year ago. So I don't know. I still want to watch this case because, the courts are supposed to be on the level, and obviously they're not in many ways. They're prejudiced, and clearly African Americans get statistically harsher sentences for the exact same crimes. So, justice is not blind.
No.
And I wonder here if it'll also not be blind in a way, taking the dad's side. I don't know.
Yeah.
They'll have to prove all that shit happened, though.
Let's go to entertainment.
Oh, yeah. Nice segue. Here. right.
Kim Kardashian West is enjoying spending time with friend, ready? Pete Davidson. Oh, boy.
I know.
They held hands on a roller coaster at Knott's Scary Farm on Friday and seen in exclusive photos obtained by people. It was the photo of them, you know, the one that the amusement park takes as you're going down with your arms up? That's the photo.
Way to lay low.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go to Not Scary, which is the weirdest name ever. It sounds like Not Scary. Let's go to Not Scary Farm on Halloween weekend and go in the ride that takes a picture of you.
Yeah. And then the TMZ is waiting where the pictures come out. Like, yeah, that's mine. Mine's the one up on the left. You can't see me. I'm ducking because I'm so scared, but I still want it.
They might have been in it with their camera getting wet, sitting 2 rows behind them.
Yeah. And you could tell, and they're on their way down, and you could see everybody's like skin is drooping, except Kim's tits are higher. They're higher up than normal.
So I had told you should go see it, but first of all, I loved the SNL that she hosted. As I said, I don't think she rejected a single joke. There was like tough, hard jokes in there. One of the sketches was they were both on like a flying carpet. Anyway, they did all the jokes where he was intimidated by everyone that came before him.
Sexually.
She even made race jokes about all of them, so many of them being black.
Right.
And him being intimidated by that. So they've done a lot of these jokes already.
Well, I like Pete. I think he's funny, but Jesus Christ, where does he find the time? These guys that, how do you do stand-up comedy and go on is he still on SNL? I don't even know if he's a cast member anymore.
No, he's on SNL.
Oh, he is. How do you have time to be in California going on fucking rides with celebrity? Dating a celebrity takes a lot of time. You don't just like text Kim for a booty call. You have to like first go to fucking Craig's and have dinner and get photographed. And then you got to meet the mom and do an episode of their show. And then you got to go shopping. And then maybe you get some pussy. But this is
also,
not an in and out.
Yeah, she has a bunch of kids she's buried in laundry and cooking.
That's right. I gotta pick up what's his name at school.
Oh, and can you imagine her mom's schedule? It must be packed. I mean, all the things she has to do.
Plus all the charity work. They're going from place to place, giving their money away.
And the unhinged ex-husband.
Yeah. That's speaking of entertainment. Like, don't we usually talk about the shows we saw this week? For Halloween, I wanted to watch something scary, so somebody told me to watch The Quiet Place, the John Krasinski movie.
Yes.
Did you see it?
I did see it when it came out. Yeah.
I wouldn't say I was scary as much as I was put in an uncomfortably uneasy place for 2 hours. Like a good scary movie, like Get Out. There's some laughs, there's some levity, there's something interesting, and there's scariness. This is just a horrible situation in which there's no joy, and you wait for people to die, which they do.
Yeah, listen, if they call me to punch up the script, even before I signed up, I can tell you one thing that's going to happen. Someone's going to fart. That's just going to happen. I'm not saying the farter has to get killed, but it's like they're all looking around. Maybe they've decided to cook Mexican that night. Bad idea.
Yeah.
Like, come on. It's so easy.
And also the daughter, there was a daughter and a son. The daughter is the daughter of him and Emily Blunt, who are both beautiful specimens of the human race. The daughter, no offense to the actress, was not attractive at all. And you just immediately went, who is the cousin? Who's the fucking friend that's staying with the son? Because this kid is not related to them.
Oh, this is going to be an unpopular take. You calling a child actress ugly?
Did I say ugly?
That's
She's
what
challenged.
I heard.
She's challenged.
Oh, the challenge is better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard no matter what you do, don't see the second one. It's terrible.
Yeah.
But it would be very interesting to see the script for the first one, because is there technically zero dialogue?
No, there's a tiny bit of dialogue.
But the other 60 pages are all going to be descriptions.
Yes.
and then he mouths the word like around the stairs or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's do some Florida Man.
Oh boy. All right, I'll try to move this along. I wrote a lot of stuff because I thought this was, so it's not Florida Man, but it sounds very Florida Man. This is a South African man. So a story went viral this week. Well, wild animals as
Is South
pets.
Africa the Florida of Africa?
I think that's a safe thing to say. Yeah, very safe. But wild animals is kind of. That was. I mean, did you put the mic in your mouth when you just coughed?
I turned to the side and I used my arm.
Right into the mic. So, anyway, on your headset, anyway. So this was a story, and it's very confusing because I think it was a few years ago. And anyway, it made the rounds again this week as a viral story. And the headline was, did a pet hippo kill and eat his owner of 6 years after he was adopted as this viral, thing? So a guy was trying to vet, was this real? So here are the details. There was a report claiming that a South African man, Els, we'll just call him Els, had adopted a baby hippo after rescuing it from a river. However, 6 years later, after years of bonding between the two, the hippo dragged him into that same river and ate him. So it's a very fetching headline. So
they're the most dangerous animals on the planet, statistically.
Right.
They kill more humans than any other animal.
So the thing said it is misleading to claim that he was eaten by the same hippo he had adopted 6 years ago after rescuing from a river. I'm like, okay, let me read about this. So the backstory is the hippo grew up too big for the people who adopted it, and it was bought by Els at the age of 5 months old, and it became his pet on his 400-acre farm. This is all true. Els was also photographed riding on the 5-year-old hippo's back when it grew up.
That's what it looked like. Yeah, no, I was right on his back. Yeah, I like to ride on my stomach. Kind of towards the back.
The hippo's name is Humphrey. So Humphrey's like a, quote, Humphrey's like a son to me. He's just like a human, he said. There's a relationship between Humphrey and me, and that's what some people don't understand. They think you can only have a relationship with dogs, cats, and domestic animals. This is a true Florida sentiment.
Yeah.
But I have a relationship with the most dangerous animal in Africa, Els said. But Els' wife wanted to set the record straight. So Els' wife, who's a pharmacist, she had a different story to tell. She had expressed misgivings about the hippo as this giant animal because the hippo, Humphrey, had caused trouble before. In 2011, a 52-year-old man and his 7-year-old grandson had to climb and stay atop a tree for 2 hours after being chased by Humphrey. It's like, okay. Similarly, Humphrey had also been accused of killing calves belonging to Els' business partner. And the animal also frequently, imagine this, broke out of its enclosure and chased golfers at a local golf club.
That I would like to see video of. I think the world would like to see golfers chased by a hippo.
Els, who really is a Florida man at heart, had also domesticated and kept a giraffe and a rhino and claimed the sound of his voice would bring Humphrey back home. And he regarded the hippo as lovable and a gentle giant. All right, so this is the last part. Years
Jesus
later,
Christ.
She's like, I just want to set the record straight. Years later, Humphrey mauled Els in the river that fateful day and left him submerged in the water for several hours, causing his death. Though there were some bite marks all over Els' body, the hippo, just to clarify, did not eat him.
Okay.
Yeah.
He bit him to death, but he didn't eat him.
Bit him to death, submerged him, kept him underwater for hours until they found the body.
This hippo sounds like, is your rhino?
Hippo.
This
Humphrey.
rhino, he's the hippo version of Brûlé, my dog.
Oh yeah, we were gonna have
One
a
day
section every
Brûlé
week.
will bite me, not eat me, but bite me until I die.
Keep in mind, when you're sleeping, it only has to bite you in the right part of the neck.
Yeah.
And you will bleed out.
Sure.
And Aaron will have to tell this convoluted story to clarify. Brûlé didn't eat his torso. Just a little tooth hole right on the jugular. That's all.
Yeah.
All right, that story wasn't worth it, but I was confused the whole time reading it. Like, wait, what's being clarified here?
Yeah. Well, South Africa. By the way, Els is the best golfer to ever play out of South Africa was a guy named Ernie Els, and so I wonder if they're related.
I wonder if Humphrey chased him on the links. Let's go to sports.
Let's go to sports.
Oh, Tampa Bay.
All right, enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Destroyed. And a legit loss. Never mind that they were favored.
Yeah. Tampa Bay
it's a
beat
bye
New Orleans
week,
last
so
week.
everyone who hates us talking about this can rejoice. We're not going to talk about it next week.
So you are now up $120, including the $20 I owe you for Game 5 of the World Series.
You got it, pal.
Also in sports, headline, and this is, I think, the headline on every sports blog, every sports newspaper, I would imagine.
The World Series,
Sports
right?
Illustrated. No. Little bigger.
Oh.
The Mountains to Beach Marathon, a woman named Tamara Torlakson, about halfway through the race, she realized she needed to go to the bathroom. So she pooped her pants. But she believed it served her well. She ended up achieving a personal record as well as legendary status in her running circles. At mile 13 or 14, she didn't want to lose her physical or mental momentum. So she said, I don't know if it's possible to poop while running, but I'm going to try. I didn't want one poop to mess it all up, unquote. So without stopping, she relieved herself into the built-in underwear in her shorts.
Yeah, everyone knows how this works.
She said, I had to focus. It just came out, and I felt a lot better.
I actually think you don't have to focus. I think focusing is when you're keeping it in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Torlakson said she didn't think anyone noticed and said she, quote, didn't give a shit if they did. No, you did. You actually did give a shit.
You know who didn't notice? Everyone in front of you.
Yeah, right. I don't know why, but suddenly I must have been going slow while I was pooping because everybody was running past me. Nobody was running behind me anymore.
That is incentive if you're drafting behind her.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right. Wow. So she ran 13 more miles, and she came across the finish line and yelled to her friends, I pooped my pants. Immediately went to the medical tent for baby wipes and cleaned up in a porta potty. Well, yeah. That's really nice. I have to imagine trying to run. This doesn't sound like it was a squirt. This sounds like it was a log. She passed a log while running.
All right, listen, I don't mean to be gross, but wouldn't you reach back, pull aside the shorts and let it out? Yeah, even if you don't do it on the fly, after it's in there?
Right.
Well, I mean, by the way, I run marathons, and everyone knows this. You can't have even a normal cotton t-shirt will make many, many nipples bleed. People put Band-Aids over their nipples. A lot of times you will see, if you go to watch marathons, the shirts have gotten better and they're more like whatever it is. They're synthetic, but a silkier type feel. But you will see bloody nipples at marathons. And also you will see shit pants at marathons.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
New York Marathon, you'd always see brown shorts running by. It was disgusting.
You know what really irritates people when they're running is a Gumby outfit.
Oh, good Lord. But you had to bring that up. But
I watched Mike run. Mike run a couple marathons, but one of them, he told me to wait. It was the New York City Marathon. This was probably in 1993, 96.
No, 4 or 5, whatever, mid-90s.
94. He's like, okay, Central Park on the east side, right around 72nd Street. I should be getting there around, I would say probably around 3.5 hours. Okay, I'm there at the 3.5 hour mark into the race and fucking scanning. New York City Marathon, there's it's 20 people wide, constantly streaming. So yeah. I'm straining my eyes at 3.5 hours.
It's like watching a river trying to see a leaf come through.
4 hours go by. No mic. And I think he told me I'm wearing a yellow hat. Looking for the yellow hat. Straining my eyes. My neck is getting sore from going back and forth. People are trying to talk to me. I'm like, I can't talk. I'm looking for Mike. It's going to be any minute now. 4 hours. 4 hours and 20 minutes.
No,
And
no. It's just not true. I have my time. It was stamped, which I argue with. It's not a real time. Go ahead.
All right, so however long it was, all of a sudden, fucking this guy dressed as Gumby. He's run the entire marathon with a giant Gumby outfit on. Comes streaming by.
A giant foam outfit.
Yeah. And then 10 minutes later, Mike comes by all proud, waving at us. I'm like, hey, asshole, Gumby just went by 10 minutes ago.
Well, this is how it happened to me. All right, first of all, speaking of shitting and pissing. So the gun goes off in the marathon, and it's freezing. I remember that year, it was actually on Staten Island. It was snowing. So everyone's in sweats, and they have a great program where all the sweats will be donated to charity. So you're all standing at the Verrazano Bridge, and there's 2 levels. So first thing is, this is interesting, is my buddy, Jim Adrian, who used to run a lot of them, goes, what are you doing? He's like, I'm like, oh, I'm on the lower level. He's like, don't go down there. Everyone pisses on you. I'm like, that's a weird thing to say. So, so he takes me, so I'm going to start on the upper level, right? And so all of a sudden the gun goes off and I start whipping my sweats off. He's like, calm down, Slick. You're not going to take your first step for 10 minutes. I'm like, what? So the gun goes off, which means the timer starts, and then we stand there as row after row starts the race. And so that's already at 10 minutes that I want back, right? And then the first mile, the Verrazano Narrows Bridge, I believe is 2 miles long, which is, by the way, all bridges I learned that day are hills. So anyway, the first mile you never run, you walk, because it's still so congested with the start of the race. But as soon as you get on the bridge and you're walking, seemingly everybody runs to the left of the bridge, which is facing New York City and facing the Statue of Liberty, and whips out their dicks and starts peeing over the side. And that pee gets blown into the level underneath them. And that's what he meant, that everyone pisses on you. He didn't even care to explain that. So anyway, this is how it seemed to me. I am fucking dragging when I get to Central Park, and you run up to me with the biggest grin in the world. You grab me by the back and neck and pat me on the shoulder, and you're like, I thought I missed you. Gumby ran by 15 minutes ago, which is the most I had 1 mile left, and that's what I hear. All I wanted to do was just walk home.
Meanwhile, I had to go from Little Italy up to the park, and I took a fucking cab. I didn't even walk it.
It was fucking freezing. Also, because I cannot enjoy running, and I in fact ran marathons to prove, because I didn't believe I could do them. But even then, I had to run with like a handheld radio. It's the mid-90s. It was basically a Walkman, but it was a radio, and I had to listen to music. And in Brooklyn, I was at mile 12, and they announced the winner of the race.
Wow.
Do you know how demoralizing that is?
Yeah. Jesus.
All the TV coverage shuts off then. I'm not even halfway through Brooklyn.
All right, speaking of demoralizing, let's go to business.
You got it, pal. Here comes business. I didn't even... What is this story?
A digital currency based off the popular Netflix series Squid Game is trading at $0 after its creators cashed out, effectively stealing an estimated $2.1 million from investors. The cryptocurrency, called Squid, surged as high as $2,800 before falling to zero as of Monday. The scam
from 3,000 to zero. Holy moly!
The scam is called a rug pull. That means the crypto's creators cashed out of their coins in exchange for real money, quickly devaluing the crypto's value. So, let that be a lesson to all you people that think that you're gonna, double your money overnight.
Here's a sign. Red light. That's a sign you should get out pretty quick on the squid currency.
Yeah.
Red light.
Red light.
It's nothing but corpses.
Yeah, right. Another red flag is that investors could buy but not sell squid. They made it so that you could not sell it. I mean, people are this is like the gold rush. This is people packing up their belongings and taking a stagecoach through Indian country to go to California because they're going to get rich. And they don't give a shit. It's blindly just... people work so hard for their money. It breaks my heart that they would lose it to these people.
You know me, Mr. Investor, Midas touch. But here's what kills me is when people criticize, by people, I mean financial experts, like the wise old men of finance who criticize crypto and say, yeah, but don't you realize its only worth is in you're betting on that people will keep buying it. It's like you just described the stock market.
Right, right.
You think this fucking stock market is based in reality at all? People just don't know where else to put their money, and they're betting people will keep, and all the stock buybacks of corporations, nothing is based on real value now. Of course, it won't go to zero like this did. You know, they own buildings or they own a product, but still, it's so speculative.
Well, and what takes it to the next level are those digital, what are they called?
NFTs. But do you know
NFTs.
What's his name? We should talk about it next week in business. Tarantino just entered that game.
Did he really?
With uncut scenes from Pulp Fiction and script pages with his notes on them.
They're called non-fungible tokens, and I sat there with Pete Scott tried to explain it to me last night, and I just said, man, if you told me this shit while I was still on mushrooms, I might be able to follow you, but the concept that you can take a PDF of something and sell it as a unique thing, I don't get it. But it literally, he goes, it just is based on, like what you just said. It's just based on the fact that somebody will pay more for it later.
This is what NFT I would buy. I would buy an NFT, a still photo or even video of Pete Scott trying to explain to you in your Raggedy Ann outfit what an NFT is and just watching your face.
I would buy it so that nobody could ever see it.
Right. It's a built-in win. I immediately cash out.
All right, this day in history. In 1991, so 31 years ago. No, 30 years ago.
That was, I mean, that number was a gift for you to do math, and you somehow blew it.
November 7th, Magic Johnson announces he is HIV positive. That
it was big news.
Was crazy.
Well, for the kids who don't remember, there was oddly a kind of similar story. Really, one of the first major ones with Arthur Ashe announcing it, years before. Another African-American athlete announcing he had it, and he did not survive.
And these are both, and it was seen as a white gay man's disease. And these were straight black men. I mean, Magic Johnson apparently is straight. I guess did he get it from a blood transfusion?
You could call it that, in a hot tub.
What?
Arthur Ashe got it from a blood transfusion, tainted blood, because it was very new. They were not testing blood.
Yeah. So and it's just amazing to think at that time there was the life expectancy of somebody with HIV. I mean, HIV has to turn into AIDS, but I think it did all the time. I don't think HIV ever didn't turn into AIDS, and the idea that
corrections, yeah.
The idea that you could go 30 years with it and he is looking better than ever. He looks, fantastic.
Fantastic. I mean, he's fat as hell. I don't know how he's doing it.
Yeah, right.
I don't think I'm reading the story now. This is the first time I'm looking at this, and I don't think this was a great choice of words. He was a native of Lansing, Michigan, and he was famous for his extraordinary passing skills and contagious smile. How about?
Thank God it wasn't a smile. That will be John Krasinski's next horror movie, is that you die if you smile. It's not making noise, but if you make any smiling face, you die.
That little saliva sound when you make a smile sometimes.
Yeah.
But you're writing a story about HIV and you choose contagious to describe his smile.
Yeah, interesting.
What an idiot.
Yeah, they don't have fact checkers like we have on Sunday papers.
I know.
Let's get to some letters to the editor.
Also, he was great at catching passes. He could catch anything.
Caught anything.
All right.
Garrett Popple. I had put out last week, I said, why is it that we live in California and we don't have basements? We both grew up in New York.
Out there, but go ahead.
Everybody had a basement. Basements are where you where you have fun. It's where you dream. It's where you play. It's where you hide from the world.
From your uncle.
And we don't have it here. So this guy, Garrett Popple, gave a very in-depth response. He says, the idea of a basement is to keep pipes warm and from freezing. California doesn't have that problem. Okay. He also found that rapid housing development was a reason why, because I think basically they were building houses so fast, they were just throwing them up. Also because California's below sea level, or a lot of it.
Yeah.
I think my house is below sea level.
I think it might be, yeah.
Because if you leave the beach on Venice Boulevard, you go down for a while, and then it just levels out.
Famously, parts of Venice are, of course.
Yeah.
And listen, the rich have figured all that out. Have you ever noticed whenever there's flooding, other than like Manhattan, whatever, but whenever there's been traditional flooding anywhere, great example is New Orleans, the rich are in the high ground. Always. Because, like when you buy a house, you have to sign the thing that recognizes if you're either, in a fire territory or a flood zone. It's all been zoned. All land has been mapped out topographically of like what is a flood area. And the rich don't live there.
Yep.
So
then this comes from Mar.
But by the way, I bet he figured all this out by Googling why there are no basements in California. And I Googled it and I wrote no basement diarrhea, which was weird. Everything I'm Googling.
This is from Marmar Beach, who says, Dear Greg and Mike, the lack of basement goes back to the California housing boom in World War II. The high demand ended in speedy developments and the exclusion of basements. My husband and I are super excited about San Francisco's show on Saturday. Bummed Mike was not available to do the podcast. Hope you will plan one up there later.
Yeah, we'll do it in your attic because you don't have a basement.
And then, do we want to get into Chappelle again?
Why? What about it?
This guy Nolan Dandino.
Oh, he's just
Winnipeg.
backing my thing that it's you don't have a leg to stand on if you're like, but people were offended. That's all.
Mike was saying, who gives a shit if art offends anyone? Mike was saying, who gives a shit if art offends anyone? Saying being offended isn't a crime while talking about Dave Chappelle. I totally agree. Pushing the envelope is the only way to even be noticed in society, while if you want to stay in a life of comfort and familiarity, you will be guaranteed to be forgotten due to being stuck in the middle of the pack. There is the Dean of Secondary Schools program, Cesar A. Cruz, who said, quote, art should comfort the disturbed and disturb the comfortable. We all get offended because we are too comfortable to think of anything else. Okay, well, you got to shake it. The thing about being controversial is it should come from an organic place. I think what I find offensive is when people say outlandish shit just because they know it's going to get a response. And then they ride that wave and they make commerce on that wave. That's grotesque. But when somebody truly believes something and in their mind they can back it up, that's where art comes from. And that's where it's difficult because people may look back on what you're saying 20 or 30 years from now and say, wow, that guy had a lot of he was very brave. But it's fucking hard.
Norm Macdonald, I'm going to slaughter this, but he was a judge on one of those stand-up shows, Last Comic Standing, I guess.
Yeah.
And this guy, Norm didn't like him. And then this guy decided, bad move, to go on Twitter and pick a fight with Norm that maybe he just didn't get him. Maybe he was like too offensive because I guess in one of his bits he like talked about like religion, but it was in like the most hackneyed way. It was like, like you and I look back at our new ideas or whatever we had in high school and college, not realizing the world's been around a lot long, before we got here. And, we're stumbling upon their new ideas to us. So this guy had a new idea like on religion. And anyway, as I said, I'm going to slaughter it. But I remember Norm just very concisely tweeting back to him. He goes, maybe you just couldn't handle he said to Norm, maybe you just couldn't handle my comedy that was on religion. It might have been like, offensive to you, but you could hear the appreciation of some members in the audience. And I think he was calling his stuff, maybe it was too daring, or too bold.
Yeah.
And Norm goes basically like, you were the furthest thing from too daring or too bold. He's like, trust me, when you do something that is truly daring and truly bold, it'll be met with silence. And I thought it was interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the funnies. It's too early in the week. Nobody died yet, so we're not doing obituaries. We got a bunch of emails about the funnies. Matt Turfey said, great show. I've listened to every episode. Lucky Eddie is Hager's best friend. His real name is Fortuitous Eduardo. Unlike Hager, he seems to be the opposite of the image of a macho Viking, having a weak chin, skinny physique, and wears a funnel for a helmet. He is one of the few Vikings who knows how to read and write. However, it seldom seems it's to his benefit. Also, how do you guys sign off the episode? Take a dish?
Yes.
Tech a douche? Tuck a dash? Sounds like a Boston thing. Means take it easy? Maybe you can fill us in. I think it's more of a New York thing. I used to say it in high school.
Well, why don't we just tell him the real thing that and he should start it, doing it in his life. We scream, tuck a deek. Tuck a deek.
Tuck a deek. Tuck a deek.
Tuck a deek. Just say it to your uncles, everybody.
George Carlos says, I believe that this piece of shit Dagwood only noticed the fucking price tag on that dress that Blondie bought with her own money. You have got to take that dude and insert yourself into this strip. I swear to Christ, if there was a way for me to get in there, I don't know what I would do first. Would I choke the fucking life out of Dagwood, or would I just go straight to Blondie and just make him be a cuck and watch? I don't know.
That's
split.
a toss-up. That's a toss-up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
she might get turned on by his death, so got to factor that in.
Yeah, but what if she got sad? What if she, took his side? I mean, she is with him. She's married to him.
Then you just got to strangle her to death and say, this is a bad idea. I'm out.
I'm going to go fuck Lucy from Peanuts.
Yeah. Right.
All right, so let's get to some Lockhorns. Loretta is, by the way, I already told people last week we're gonna talk to the
in the
writer.
new year. She's busy writing jokes.
So Loretta is talking to Leroy, and they're at the store, and there's a lotto sign up, and he's got a lotto ticket in his hand, and she says, buying more lottery tickets with the $2 you won is not reinvesting your earnings.
That's great.
And now Leroy is in a suit talking to another gentleman at a cocktail party. Loretta's in the back talking to what we would guess is the man's wife. And he says, we were married by a justice of the peace. Since then, I've had neither justice or peace.
These are all, at the very least, efforts at humor.
Efforts. Some of it's wordplay. That's fine. I have no big problem with that. It was Halloween this past week, and this is Blondie. So you go, you do your family circus, then I'll do Blondie.
Oh no, it's worth it. Let's definitely delay Blondie to do this piece of shit. All right, it's family circus. The mom's standing in the kitchen, looking very fit again. You're right. Like this, these are different drawings than the beleaguered mom, and the youngest kid is in his pajama, oh boy. In his pajama onesie, crawling through her legs, and the cat is behind him just sitting there watching. And then the young, obnoxious son is looking up at the mom, and he goes, quote, to the mom, PJ picked that up from kitty cat. It means he's hungry.
What?
This one can't even make sense to him. In other words, I think very often he's satisfied with the piece of shit he wrote because his brain bar is so low it's almost non-existent. But even this one, he might be like, is that something? Did I put words and I put I put one period. So there's a cluster. There's two clusters of words. Do they make any fucking sense? No, they don't.
It's like when you were doing papers and you were in 7th grade and you made the margins smaller and the font bigger because it was supposed to be a 2-page paper, and you were just covering it with letters.
Or when and the teacher would be like, just restate your premise from the first paragraph in your conclusion. You're like, I'm going to type the same thing. I don't have brain that works. I can't find other words.
Yeah. Right.
What is this? Truly, it's a real question.
Yeah. That is a tough one. That is one of the worst ones you've ever read.
Oh my God. It's infuriating.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, this will cheer you up. Or won't it? I don't know. Because, again, this is Halloween. This was a strip from Halloween. And I got a problem with the strip right out of the gate because Blondie's not in it, which would normally preclude it from being in Sunday papers. But
oh wow!
But there's a reason why I'm reading this one. Bell rings.
Wait, before you do it, do you see that there's a Hager in there?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Didn't realize. Go ahead.
So bell rings. Dagwood says, "Here we go." He walks up to the door. He's got a bowl full of candy. Yep, it's game time. And standing there is Popeye and another character, and they go trick or treat. And Dagwood goes, "You guys look great. Dig in."
Yeah.
And then the second frame is Garfield and another little cartoon guy. And he says, "Ha ha, bet you guys would prefer doggy treats or lasagna." And Garfield shits on Dagwood and goes, "Is he kidding?" And the other guy goes, "Get real." Like, Dagwood is the fucking bitch of the comic world. They're only getting the candy.
Even the creator drawing this knows that. That's the jokes he puts in.
All right. Now you got Beetle Bailey and Sarge show up, and they go trick or treat. And Dagwood goes, my favorite men in uniform, which, by the way, distinct possibility Dagwood's a homosexual, which is not a bad thing. I'm not judging that, but it explains a lot. And
no,
now,
I think you're judging a waste of a talented wife.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now we've got the second to last frame. Who shows up? It's fucking Hager the Horrible with the guy who they just told me his name on the. What's this guy's name again?
Dorfman. I'm kidding. I don't know. Here, let me Google it. It's
Lucky Eddie.
Hager diarrhea.
So it's Hager and Lucky Eddie, and they go trick or treat. And then Dagwood goes, "Aren't you guys too big to be begging for candy? Are you fucking high, Dagwood? Do you have any idea what mayhem and carnage this guy has caused? You're going to fuck with fucking Hager the Horrible?" And so Hager goes, "Well, it sure beats trying to take a castle by force." And the other guy, Lucky Eddie, goes, "Amen, brother." But basically Hager wiped out the bowl. He took all the treats from the bowl.
Yep.
But here's what he didn't do.
And he was trying to put a couple of pieces of candy, and he got pillaged.
Here's what Hager didn't do. He didn't go inside and pillage Blondie, which there's a reason why Dagwood is answering this door alone and not bringing Blondie out.
I know he's walking away. I'm like, I wonder if he'll be like, "Oh, wait a minute. Doesn't that hottie live here?"
Yeah. Right.
What are we doing, guys?
I think he might even have a sense of smell. He's like an animal. There's no way Blondie doesn't wear Chanel No. 9 or some good fucking perfume. And he would get a little whiff of it, and then it's game time. Get the fuck out of the way, Dagwood.
Come on. Some of these, they're just not, it's right in front of their face. Here's what the Hager Halloween strip should be. Ding dong, rape or pillage. Come on. It's right there.
All right. Well, listen, Mike, have fun. And you're going off to, what's your trip this week?
All right. I'm going to New York on the way to Detroit, which is a weird way to phrase it, but it is like a round trip to JFK, stopping in Detroit on the way back. I'm going to see David Byrne, which was really, really, really high on my list before COVID.
Right.
And so I'm going to New York. He's in the St. James Theater. I'm really excited about it. He was just on Colbert last night, I guess, and he performed. But psyched to do that. And then from there, Friday, going to Ann Arbor and going in the big house to see a home football game at Parents Weekend in freezing Michigan.
How cold is it right now? Have you checked?
Let me look. How cold Michigan diarrhea? It is in Ann Arbor. As I look at my phone, it's 39.
Okay.
But, don't worry. It goes down to 27 in a little bit. And then Saturday, the low of 28, but a high of 50. I'm banking on that 50.
Okay. That's not too bad.
New York right now is 48 and going down to the 30s. So New York is also no treat, but
Nice.
I love that weather.
All right. Well, have fun and
Thank
give
you.
my love to Sophie. I hope you have fun.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I'll be taking my wife. We're flying up to San Francisco for the weekend. I'm doing some shows, and we're going to see some friends. We got a bunch of friends up there, and then come back on Sunday night.
Say hi to everybody. Yeah, I wish we were able to do the podcast. That would have been great.
Yeah, but if anyone dies, maybe we'll add it in before Saturday. All right, thanks to Midcoast Media for the fine job they do every week. Chris Denman, thank you for your contributions, and we'll see you next week.
Tuck a dick.
Take a dick.
Take a dick is another one. All right, Bob, take it easy.
Sunday papers, read all about it. Sunday papers, read all about it. Sunday papers.
I used to dry hump so much I would get scabs on my penis. Penis.
Wait, okay.
Penis. Sunday papers, read all about it.
I was a dry hump maniac.
Sunday papers, read all about it.